When you're working on a dream, at some point in time, a transition takes place. And the transition is what you are becoming in pursuit of the dream. Because even if you don't get the dream, you become such a strong and powerful person. It will so change your life, you can look at something else and say, well, I think I'll go do this thing. Because you have now developed yourself in such confidence and such competence in how to deal in the arena of life that you can move into another area and not miss a beat.
If you clicked on this video, you're already ahead of the majority because you're looking for growth. Welcome to Epic Motivation. Let's get started.
Once you begin to discover who you are, then you really realize how you have been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, including all the dimensions of your life. But you can only do that through the struggle of life. And most people avoid the struggle. Most people go through life avoiding pain. And when you go through life like that, something in you dies. Something in you that you never activate is lying dormant in there, that you never get a chance to call on because you have not challenged yourself. Somebody said, the land of familiarity belongs to the dead. That most people like to feel like they're a king in the area of their comfort zone. They only want to do those things that they know how to do well. Osborne said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. So if you want to begin to grow, you've got to put something out here that you can't reach easily, that has got to make you stretch, got to make you jump for it, got to make you get back a little bit and dig in so that you can take a leap for it. And maybe you jump up there and you miss it and you skin your knees and you come back again and you bust your lip next time. But you keep on, and through that process, you learn how to leap higher. You start challenging yourself to dig deeper, and then you discover some things about you that you don't know right now. Some talents that you have in you that you didn't know that you can do. I started out just talking to kids, and now I'm speaking at corporations. Now I'm traveling. I didn't know I can do this, but had I not given myself a chance, and I'm saying to you, give yourself a chance. Here's something else. If you want to begin to make your stuff happen for you, I think that it's very important that you start trusting yourself. Listen to yourself. Listen to that still small voice within you. Don't try and make everything logical. There's some things about life that defies logic, that you just can't explain how the outcome is going to be. I think that's why Paul said you've got to learn how to walk by faith and not by sight. That once you begin to trust yourself and your ideas and your instincts, life takes on a whole new meaning, because now I want you to do that feeling that you are led. Just feel, I am led. I remember the worst speech I had ever given in my life. I let someone exploit a fear that I had. For years, I had a tremendous inferiority complex because I'm not college educated. And this person knew this. And she said, let me write this speech for you. You're going to speak at Ohio State University. Those people are very educated there, and they're going to know when you make grammatical errors, and they're going to know because of the substance of your speech that you are not literate. I care about you, and I don't want you to embarrass yourself. So this person proceeded to write a speech for me. I had a speech in my mind, but this person was stronger than I was negatively than I was positive about my own thoughts. And I gave my power away. With my permission, I allowed this person to guide me to do something that I really didn't want to do. But I didn't feel enough inner strength and conviction about my skills as a speaker and the message that I had to bring to stick by my guns. And I got up there at the Ohio Union, and I read this straight speech and did not move and did not take my eyes off the page because I'm not accustomed to reading. And after I finished, some people gave me a standing ovation because I read it extremely well, and I was very tense and I was very nervous. But Boo was with me, and we've been together since second grade. And I didn't want to go on the side of the room where he was. I saw the look in his eyes. And another friend of mine by the name of Mike Williams, and I knew what they were going to say. And they had the look on their face like, what happened to you? And so I didn't go over there. I went over here where I could get some compliments. And these people were saying, you were very good. Oh, thank you very much. I wanted to be fortified before I got this whipping. So finally we were going to the car, and we got in the car, and Boo was trying to be as tactful as he could. And then he just said, that was the worst speech you have ever given. I said, oh, Boo, I know. Why did you read the speech? What happened to your spontaneity? You've always been an extemporaneous speaker. Les, why did you do that? When she told me that they wouldn't accept what I said. Les, let them take you as you are. So do the right thing. There might be a tendency sometimes, because of the negative part of our consciousness and our own programming, for us to want to say, well, I just do it this time. It won't matter. Won't nobody know. Ladies and gentlemen, everything matters. and you know you're somebody, I'd rather lose out on my dream doing the right thing than to cheat trying to make a shortcut to get to my goal. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror, and that's what you want to do. There's no saying, judge a man not by what he does, but by that he doesn't have to do. And to judge the true quality of a man is what do you do when nobody's looking. See, there's some good out there for you in the universe that has your name on it, and nobody can get your good. It has your name on it. They can't take your stuff. It's your stuff. So when you know that whatever you're seeking, it's also seeking you, you don't worry. You don't run scared. You don't think somebody's going to take it from you. You listen to your inner voice, and you always take the high road. There will be the tendency, the natural inclination to take the low road. You must resist that. Repeat after me, please. I will always take the high road and do the right thing no matter what. Here's something else I encourage you to do if you want to make it today. Keep your agreements that you make and establish a network of people who will also do that. Establish a network of people in your life that you can count on, that will be there for you when you need them, and you be there for them. And test them sometime. Find out how many flaky people you've got in your life. Ask them to meet you someplace and say, this is very important for me. Will you be there for me? I need you. And whoever shows up, write their name down. Those that don't show up, draw a line through their name. And when they call you, make sure you're not available for them. Are you busy? No. I just choose not to deal with you in this way. Get all the flaky people out of your life. I asked a friend of mine today about a mutual friend. I said, have you talked to him? She said, no. I said, why? He's so negative. I had to cut him out of my life. I couldn't risk having him in my life. In my office, I have a lot of fruit. And I had a basket of apples on the table, and I had a plum that had spoiled. When I picked the plum up off this granny apple, it left a brown spot. You ever heard said one spoiled apple will spoil a whole barrel? One negative person can spoil your whole life. Leave the flakes alone. People that are seriously not serious. And if you're surrounded by flakes, that tells you who you are. Because like attracts like. I know you don't like that. I bet you want to applaud that one. You applaud for them, huh? Birds of a feather flock together. You run around with losers, you will end up a loser. Unconsciously, you will pick up their ways, you'll pick up their habits, you'll pick up, most importantly, their attitude about life. If you're around cynical, negative people all the time, you will become cynical and negative. So you got to watch yourself. Many of us are living out the lives of other people, living out their conclusions, living out of their consciousness. The other thing is that you begin to looking at your life and looking at what it is that you want to achieve. Another crucial thing that you must do is align yourself with powerful people. Align yourself with people that can encourage you, people that can empower you, people that you can learn from, people that you can grow from. That's very important. See, if you have people around you that can contribute to your growth. When I wanted to become a speaker, I joined the National Speakers Association. I wanted to be around the Dr. Norman Vincent Peales, the Zig Ziglars, the Dwayne Dyers. I wanted to be around people that were doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn from them. And you want to do that too. You want to align yourself with people who think like you, people who dream like you, people who want more out of life, people that are stretching and searching and seeking some higher ground in life. As opposed to the majority of people. Somebody said, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. And see, you don't want to be on the bottom. See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. Sometimes I have to pull myself out of bed and say, come on, Les. Things I know I should do, I don't do. Things I shouldn't do, I do. I found that the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. You begin to look toward making this your decade, as you begin to look toward making your life different, as you begin to look at yourself, you've got to redefine yourself. Who are you right now? And who must you become in order to create what you want? What has to change about you? What is it that you're doing right now that would be a liability for you? As you begin to look toward the future and take inventory of yourself, what is it about you right now that you've got to leave this behind because this no longer fits? looking at where you want to go and the kind of person that you must become, the kind of standards that you have for you, what is it that you must do differently? It makes sense. Unless you change your pattern, unless you change the way you're thinking, unless you change your behavior, you're going to continue to produce the results in your life. See, all of us are winners, but some of us are producing results that we don't want. And so all you have to do is look at your game plan, look at your strategy. How is it that you have been being? What is it that you've been doing to produce this? See, you're the director, you're the producer, you're writing the script, you're the star of your life. And as you begin to look at your life, you can decide whether or not it's a smash or whether or not it's a flop. That's in your hands. So as you begin to look at this decade and affirming that this is your decade, as you set goals that will make you stretch, that will bring out the best in you, as you begin to remove the negative, toxic people from your life, as you decide to take some chances in life, and that's one of the things that's very important. Viscard said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you cannot be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Before April 1954, the common belief, the universal belief, because it had been tried again and again and again and people had failed, the belief was that man was not physically capable of breaking the 4-minute barrier, that he could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. That was the belief on the planet. It had never been done. But here's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Roger Bannister came along and he broke the 4-minute barrier. Now here's what's significant about that. Since that time, up to this day, over 20,000 people have done it, including high school kids. 20,000 people. What changed? Here's what happened when they got on the track. They knew it had been done. And because they knew it had been done, there was a new belief about this barrier, about this goal that was unreachable. And those 20,000 people got in a race believing, knowing in their heart that someone had done it, that it's possible, that they could do it. And I'm saying that if you know anybody that had some goal, some dream, something they wanted to do, and they did it, then I'm saying that you know in your heart that if someone has done it, then you can do it. It's possible. And that if someone can make their dream become a reality, that it's possible that you can make your dream become reality. And so as you begin to look at where you want to go, beginning to embrace that, it's possible. I'm blessed and highly favored. I've got a lot going for me. I got some good stuff in me. And it's possible that I can bring my greatness out here in the universe, that I can do what I want to do. It's possible I can write my own book. I can have my own business. I can take the trip and travel around the world. It's possible. I can bounce back from adversity and reinvent my life. It's possible. Regardless of where I am, the thing can get better for me. It's possible. I'm thinking about two men right here in Chicago who were fairly successful, similar background, educated. They worked for a corporation for many years, and they were among many people that were laid off. Two guys who were very good friends. One went out looking for a job for several weeks, along with the other one, and they faced disappointment and rejection again and again and again. They couldn't find any work, which is the story of many people across this country. One guy stopped. He became discouraged. He stopped going. He stayed home looking at television, became very argumentative and toxic with his wife, drinking beer, getting on the phone, talking to his other negative, unemployed friend, and he just gave up. The other guy kept looking for a job everywhere he could go. Every time he could get an opportunity, kept asking people, networking, checking the newspapers every day, kept going everywhere he could, trying to find a job. You have too much education. You're overqualified. You won't be here long enough. He kept going. He kept going. He went to a place and said, look here, I tell you what, if you can't hire me, and I know you can use my talents, abilities, and skills, I don't want to sit home and do nothing. Just let me do some volunteer work. You don't have to give me anything, all right? I just want to work. I want to be busy. Guy said, okay, it's on you now, but don't expect me to give you anything. It's okay. This guy came in and worked. He was the first one there. The last one to leave was the best employee there. About 4 weeks later, one of the top managers quit. They were looking for a replacement. Guess who they selected? This other guy. This guy who was volunteering his time. He got the job. What was the difference between the two men? Eyesight and Mindsight. Eyesight is judging on what you see, judging according to appearances. But Mindsight is how you interpret what you see. One guy said, It's not possible. It's over. I'm finished. I can't do it. I can't make it. He surrendered. I've faced rejection again and again. I'm not going anymore. There are no jobs out there. But this other guy, he felt that in spite of the no's and rejections, in spite of how bad the economy is, in spite of what the newspapers are saying, that it's possible that somebody somewhere will give me a job. He just kept going, thinking it was possible. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's what we have to do with our dreams. Because things happen to you in life that you can never, ever anticipate. And many times when those things happen, you want to give up. I remember when I was in broadcasting, when I was a disc jockey, I became very controversial, not only being a disc jockey, but I felt that radio was something that you not only entertain people with, but you also empower them, you educate them. And I got fired. I didn't just leave, they fired me. They took my microphone. I thought that was who I was. No, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't. I had to do something else, and I didn't know what else I could do. See, here's what I'm looking at. What are the uses for your life right now that you haven't even reached for yet? See, I believe that when you don't have enough encouragement to act on your dreams or ideas, or you're not enlightened enough, that life will act on you.
See, if you know what your life work is, I encourage you to start working on it. If you can't do it all at one time, do just a little bit of it. And if you don't know what it is that you showed up to do, if you don't know why you're here, I encourage you to find out what your purpose is here. What is the meaning of your life? What will be different? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I've done that. I remember coming from a friend of mine's funeral, and I was reflecting on how much time I had left. And I went for a walk in a park thinking about this guy whose life was so promising. And I mean, he wasn't an old guy. He was quite young, in fact. And I thought about all of the things that he said he was going to do, and he never got a chance to do those things. And I started thinking about my own life and how much time I had left to do the things that I would like to do. And at that time, I wasn't sure what my life purpose was, what my life's work was. I've done that. I remember coming from a friend of mine's funeral, and I was reflecting on how much time I had left. And I went for a walk in a park thinking about this guy whose life was so promising. And I mean, he wasn't an old guy. He was quite young, in fact. And I thought about all of the things that he said he was going to do, and he never got a chance to do those things. And I started thinking about my own life and how much time I had left to do the things that I would like to do. And at that time, I wasn't sure what my life purpose was, what my life's work was. I wasn't sure about it at that time. And I thought about it quite a lot. I had some idea, but I wasn't convinced, that I don't think I felt worthy. I didn't believe that it could be me to do this kind of work that I'm doing right now. And I say to you that if you begin to take a conscious effort to find out what it is that you're supposed to do, I say that it can literally save your life. See, when you're going someplace and you already know how much you're going to make, you already know how far you can go, you're in a dead-end position. It erodes your self-esteem. It lowers your sense of yourself. It creates an inner turmoil. It creates an emptiness in you. So I say that your life is worth finding what it is that you're supposed to do. And I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying find it and do just a little bit of it. When I wanted to become involved in speaking, I started just learning quotes, listening to other people's tapes, going to seminars, going to workshops, asking other people to help me. Just start working at it just a little bit, but do find out what your work is and hold on to it, and don't let your dream go. Don't let it go. Unless you've made some major mistakes in life, you haven't started living yet. So a lot of people, if you've never made any major blunders, made some major mistakes, lost some serious money, taken some serious risks, you haven't started living yet. You don't call that living. Not rocking the boat, going through life quietly, tiptoeing safely to an early grave. No. You got to take some chances. You want to bring some adventure to your life. See, a lot of people, because they don't want to make any mistakes, it takes us to the next level. A lot of people don't want to fail. Fear of failure, fear of success, and guess what else? Fear of the unknown. See, at some point in time, all of us have seen our destiny. I was 6 years old, a man by the name of Reverend Ed Graham, of Mount Zion Baptist Church in Miami. I was 6 years old right before Christmas. My mother was ill. We had no food in the house. And this tall, strapping man around 6'1" came to the door with a food basket in his hand. And he says, "Hello, is this the Brown family?" My mother said, "Yes. I understand that you have 2 sons and a daughter and that you have no food." "Yes, I'm from Mount Zion Baptist Church, and around Christmas time we pass out food baskets to needy families. Take the basket in behalf of the church and have a nice Christmas. When he walked out, I said, oh boy, I'd like to be like that man. And I went to his church and I used to watch him speak, and tall and powerful and dynamic speaker, such eloquence. One of his favorite people was the poet Kipling, who wrote, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. All of us have seen our destiny at some point in time, and we decided not to listen. We decided to ignore it and say, no, that's not for me. Life came in and slapped us side the head, and we stopped dreaming anymore. Bigger Thomas said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life. And that's what causes many of us to give up on our volcano. The experiences and the challenges, the defeats, the disappointments, and the failures of life. And we decide to prematurely throw in the towel on ourselves, or to sell out on our true potential, sell out on living our dreams, feeling that we're not good enough, not wanting to make any mistakes, particularly if you're raised with a great deal of criticism. So you've got to be willing to prepare yourself and do the best you can. Take your best shot and let the chips fall where they may. And so as you begin to look at people become afraid of success because they feel they're not good enough, they can't handle it, the responsibility is too big. I've been there. And when you feel that way, you begin to unconsciously work against yourself to make sure that you don't get it. You begin to sabotage your own potential in a variety of ways, through procrastinating, through not taking care of business, not giving reports on time, not spending your time wisely, squandering your time looking at a lot of idle television, or spend all your time lamenting and complaining about how bad things are, using your energy negatively rather than positively, complaining rather than producing. That's what we do when we're afraid of really making it. And when you're afraid of the unknown, when you're afraid to take that leap, when you're afraid to venture out there, that's a real challenge. See, sometimes life will happen to you like this little boy, and you won't have time to say no. You won't have time to think that you can't do it. The only time you will have is to act, to take the leap of faith and believe that everything is going to be all right. Take that leap of faith, trust yourself, and know within yourself that everything's going to be all right. But aren't there some guarantees you can give us, Les? Yes. What is that? You're going to die. In case you didn't understand that, you can't get out of life alive. So I'm saying to you, you got 6 months to live. Live your life now. Live your dreams now. Start acting like this is your last day on the planet.
Your future is in your hands. You know what that means? You got to work on your mind. Fortify yourself. You know what that means? You got to upgrade, level up your skill set. You know what that means? That means you want to be in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships that's going in your direction. And anybody that don't have the mindset that you have, let them go. Well, Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. I was trying to help my twin brother lose weight. I gained 25 pounds. Trying to help my brother lose weight. Because when you speak and talk to people, you dilute your energy. A person who's not willing to help themselves, you can't help them. Patrick Douglas said it best. He said, why help a man stand on his feet if he doesn't have enough gumption to lock his knees? When you let him go, his head will hit the pavement. Think about that. If you're ready for a change, if you got a book in you, and say, I'm in. My compilation book is going to be called The Hungry Ones. I want your story, The Hungry Ones. And then I'm going to do a speaking summit with the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to tell your signature story, the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to make money with your story, the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to become a national and global voice, how I did it. And it's easier now. It's like taking cake from a baby. It's easier because of this computer. 2007, the Time magazine said the computer was the person of the year. Why? Because you can create a global business with your phone or your computer. You can learn anything on here. And now the majority of money that's being generated in the economy is done at a computer, going from brick and mortar to click and order. Listen what, and remember what Maya Angelou said. She said, there's nothing as painful as an untold story buried in your soul. You know it. Stop playing around. Stop procrastinating. Only put things off for tomorrow that you don't mind dying in you today. You deserve to be happy. You're supposed to evolve, not be the same way. We've been trained to be who we were not to be. And as a result, most of us are living a misplaced fast-paced life, and the coronavirus has interrupted that. This is a reckoning. And many times in life, when the very foundation of our life has been shaken, we run to God only to discover that it's God that's doing the shaking. God is in the midst of this. Yeah, these politicians, they don't believe in God. No, that's lip service to them. Standing around holding a Bible upside down. 2 Corinthians. Reckoning taking on right now. Transformation. See, there's disruptions, there are transformations, and there are decisions. And a lot of people have made the decision to give up. A lot of people have made the decision to wait for a stimulus check. They don't require much stimulation. A lot of people have made the decision that I can't make it. A lot of people have made the decision that this is too painful, this is too much. No. A lot of people have thrown in the towel, have forgotten how we got here. We rather walk in dignity rather than ride in shame. It's a new day. And it's a new day, it's got to be a new you. You got to be willing to transform yourself. Life is full of disruptions. When they looked at me and said, Mr. Brown, you are dealing with 4th stage cancer. I knew I had my work cut out for me. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Frederick Douglass come forth. He said, we might not get everything that we fight for, but everything we get, there will be a fight. Pick it up and decide that your voice will be a voice of change. Pick it up and speak to the world. Pick it up and transform the life of you and your family and those who listen to you. Pick it up and bring your knowledge, your abilities, and your skills and your talent and go to your grave empty. No, he's right. Don't drop the mic. Use the mic because your voice matters. If you're hungry, it's not for everybody. It's not for people that are casual. If you're casual, your dreams will end up a casualty. It's for the hungry ones. These are the people that are unstoppable, the hungry ones. These are the no matter what people, the hungry ones. These are the people that they don't believe in excuses. They believe in results. The hungry ones. They're the ones that take no prisoners and eat the wounded. The hungry ones. They don't care about the odds. The dream is so big that the odds don't matter. Sometimes you got to get an attitude about this thing called life. I've seen people get an attitude about stupid stuff. He looked at me wrong. She raised her voice, sitting up in a jail cell, asking themselves, how did I get here? Misplaced aggression. That's how you got it. The reason you're listening to me, what I'm saying is common sense, but not common practice. What I'm saying is already in you. This is your moment. You've strayed off from this calling in your life. You strayed away. And sometimes you have to, as Edward Albee would say, you have to come back a long distance correctly. It's your time. Don't deny it. Don't ignore it. We've all had those moments where say, boy, if I just listen to my first mind. Listen to your first mind and the second one and the third one if it's in the direction of where you know in your heart of hearts you should be going. I live a life of no regrets. I'm encouraging you to do that. So then when I go, I won't have any regrets. A life that self to say, Les, Brownie, I'm glad you made the decision, man, to do what you're doing. You have no idea the lives that you've touched, the people that you've impacted. You have no idea. You will never meet all of them around the world because you're willing to be coached, Brownie. You responded to a higher calling. You have no idea. And I'm saying to you, if you can hear me in your heart, you have no idea of what you can do when someone can look at you with a trained eye and experience. You have no idea of what you can accomplish when you're in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships that's going in the direction of where you are going. You have no idea that when you unplug from this world, be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, and spend more time working on you than on your job. You have no idea of what can come out of that. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store. We've been victims of weapons of mass distractions. My children behind me, That reminds me to finish strong, because I haven't done my best work yet. There's some people out there, some of y'all looking at me, and you know my name is on you. Some people need some guidance. Some people just need some help right now because they've experienced back-to-back blows. I know about that. I've gone through that. I know when people are going through some stuff, there's a lot of pain out there. My goal is to convert that pain into passion and purpose and direction so you can position yourself to make that pain work for you and not work against you. And how do you do that, Les? Keep it moving. If you stop, if you look back, you'll get paralyzed. Keep it moving. This is a Red Sea moment. Keep it moving. You do what you can do, and God will do what you can't do. Keep it moving. That's what I did. I went from city to city on a Greyhound bus from Miami, Florida, sleeping on friends' couches in pursuit of a dream, in pursuit of a life that I'm now living. It took a minute. Well, I try and sit down. You either do or you don't. It's a process to achieve mastery. It's a process. And quitting does not make it any faster. You got to be willing to go all in for you, for your family, for a better life, for freedom. So you're calling your own shots, where I just got tired of somebody telling me what time to be there, how long I could have a lunch break for, how much I'm worth. I had to ask for permission to go on vacation. I remember one time I did all the right things and asked in advance for vacation. And then he said, no. Why? Y'all don't have to answer that. I just said no. And I remember going back to my desk, and I wrote probably 600 times, I'm getting up and out of here. Nobody's going to treat me like I'm a child, like I'm nothing. I mean, one time they cut my salary, said, you're making too much money. Excuse me? I remember at the time, remember now, I'm 76. If you were an African American, you could not buy a newer car than the person you were working for. They would fire you. You've done so many demeaning things to us. That's why Richard Wright said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experiences of life. It's a miracle we are not crazy. It's a miracle. That's why you got to be hungry. And this day where we are right now, the people that are evil, the people that are of darkness, the people that are going all out to stop us, to hold us down, we got to be more determined and stronger and be willing to do whatever it takes to live our dreams and create a future for our children. You got to be stronger than the forces working against you. Can't take any breaks. No, absolutely not. This is the new way of being. This is different. This is a fight. I remember I was at a fight at Douglas Elementary School. I'll never forget with a guy. And during that year, they had a saying called time out. If you want to get involved in a conversation, you say time out, everybody stop, and then you get your point in. I was fighting with this guy, and one of my shoes came off. I said, time out, held my hand up. The guy said, the hell with you, and hit me in the head. I'll kill every mediocre demon in you and bring out that greatness. You better run now. Run, I'll know you by your limp. I'm looking for people that want to be trained on how to speak their truth, on how to make a difference, to be trained on civility, to be trained on and standing up for something that can make a better world than what we now have. There are people that's serious, that they've come out of the woodworks, the crazies, because of they've been conditioned and been given permission, because all the hatred that's been spewed all over the nation and around the world. And there's no time to be silent. Evil prevails. Evil prevails when good men and women are silent and do nothing. No. Now, this is a time to speak up. And you want to be coached and trained on how to do it. That's how I became a state legislator. When I ran against a 22-year incumbent, they took me off the air because I was controversial. When they beat a brother who's a Vietnam veteran while he's holding his baby in the Kahiki restaurant in Columbus, Ohio. They said, he's finished. We took his microphone. Yeah, but they didn't know I knew how to tell a story. They didn't know my superpower. I knew how to tell a story. See, politics is about the story you tell about yourself and the story you tell about your opponent. The story your opponent tells about themselves and the story they tell about you. And whoever is most effective will win. I won hands down. I can teach you at all the levels. We got hundreds, thousands of ministers. But I'm talking about speaking to the world, having the versatility and flexibility to speak to any type of audience, having the versatility and flexibility to earn money at the comfort of your home, virtually, with your knowledge, with your skills, with your passion, with your personality, with your ability to present. There's an art to this. And my years, I did not know it. My years in radio prepared me for this right now. How to talk to people and you can't see them. They'll teach you how to do that and develop a dimension of your brain that you don't know. So you can think on your feet and you can transform an audience individually and collectively. And they'll never be the same again because they heard your voice. In the midst of all of this madness out here, this is no time to be silent. No, people need to be encouraged. There's pain out here. People need to be encouraged. There are people that are disillusioned out here. People are feeling weak and powerless out here and desperate out here and don't know that this is the best time of our lives. This is the best time of our lives. Are you serious? Yes. We got all the tools we need to do whatever we want to do. Judge not according to appearances. Don't focus on the problems. Focus on the solution. This is the best time of our life. You get up in the morning like that. You get up in the morning and say all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Lord, whatever I face today, together you and I can handle it. And just say to yourself, this is going to be the best day of my life. Good things are supposed to happen to me. Call forth those things that be not as though they were. And start working on creating something that's you. Do what works.
So we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are two kinds of people in life. You know, he said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life. Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Next thing is separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life. I didn't do it like that. Oh, you don't want me to live that down, huh? You want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did. Guess what? I'm not interested. So as you're in the process of reinventing your life, write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points? Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Other thing is that in order to get out of a rut, we need some coaching. Find some trusted critics, people that you know care about you and love you. There's some things that keeps us from growing and getting out of ruts. Number one, we identify with feedback. We take it personal when someone wants to give us some feedback on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. It hurts. I have a friend who's a trusted critic. I don't like him, but I love him. He doesn't tell me the things I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear so I can grow. It hurts. It hurts when he put me on the hot seat. I can't stand it. But that's the only way that I can grow. And I'm glad that he loves me enough to risk our friendship to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Get a support group, somebody that you can talk to. People who perhaps might have a similar problem. Support groups are very powerful, that you can share some of the challenges that you're going through. And it might be a situation where one person can give you an idea of how they handle that situation and create an opening for you. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects. The other thing is about life, when things happen to you, when you permit things to use you, you can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted, doing interviews for adoption agencies and foster homes. And I was on television once, and I told these people in this particular interview that I was giving away my twin brother and I when we were 6 weeks of age. A friend of mine, fortunately, was listening to the program. And she said, Les, I'd like to have lunch with you. And so I went over to see her. She said, when a woman carries a baby for 9 months, feeling that life movement in her, it's automatic and natural for her to learn to love that baby, to expect it to come here when she bears the pain to bring it into the world. Your mother, Mamie Brown, when she came in to adopt you guys, she didn't go through that process. She looked at whoever your biological mother was and said, I'll take her. You weren't given away less. You were chosen with love. Same circumstances, same event, but reinterpreted. An interpretation that empowers me. Am I making sense to you? So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing. Now I want you to think about, in your mind right now, think about some particular event or act in your life that you feel very bad about, that you really regret that took place. If you had to do over again, you would do it differently. With that there, I want you to see yourself in your mind's eye and say to yourself, I love myself unconditionally and I forgive myself. If I knew better, I would have done better. I want you to think about somebody that caused you some pain, caused you some disappointment, somebody that you don't like. Let me tell you something about the mind, how it uses you. Tell you something super stupid that I used to do. Do you know for years I hated my mother and my father, whoever they were, because they gave me away as I thought at that point in time? And guess what? I didn't have any faces for the hatred because I never saw either one of them. And I said, I hate them for that. And then once I forgave them and said, it's okay. Had they not given me away, I would have never been blessed to have the mother that I have, who to me is the greatest mother in the world. So the universe unfolds as it should. But when I went through this process, saying forgive them, I remember in my mind as I was trying to picture these people, I had two individuals in my mind standing there with no faces because I didn't know how they look. But I released that. I let that luggage go. Think about somebody that you've hurt, somebody that you've disappointed, either deliberately or inadvertently, or someone that has hurt you deliberately or inadvertently. Think about them, somebody that you really, when you think about them, the room turns red. Look at them in your mind's eye and say, I forgive you. I forgive you unconditionally. Boy, that's a heavy load to let off. When I thought about that guy, I said, wait a minute, I can't, no, you don't know what this guy did. This was my mama. You don't know what we went through. My student said, Les, forgive, let it go. If you want to be forgiven, you better forgive somebody. None of us are perfect. All of us have made some mistakes. And it wasn't easy. It's not easy forgiving, am I right? It's hard. See, everybody won't forgive. They say, I forgive, but I don't forget now. Let it go so you can grow.
See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. Sometimes I have to pull myself out of bed and say, come on, Les. Things I know I should do, I don't do. Things I shouldn't do, I do. I found that the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. You begin to look toward making this your decade. As you begin to look toward making your life different, as you begin to look at yourself, you got to redefine yourself. Who are you right now? And who must you become in order to create what you want? What has to change about you? What is it that you're doing right now that would be a liability for you? As you begin to look toward the future and take inventory of yourself, what is it about you right now that you've got to leave this behind because this no longer fits? Looking at where you want to go and the kind of person that you must become, the kind of standards that you have for you, what is it that you must do differently? It makes sense unless you change your pattern, unless you change the way you're thinking, unless you change your behavior, you're going to continue to produce the results in your life. See, all of us are winners, but some of us are producing results that we don't want. And so all you have to do is look at your game plan, look at your strategy. How is it that you have been being? What is it that you've been doing to produce this? So you're the director, you're the producer, you're writing the script, you're the star of your life. And as you begin to look at your life, you can decide whether or not it's a smash or whether or not it's a flop. That's in your hands. Look at your life, look at where you want to go. Don't worry about your circumstances. Don't worry about your age. I have a friend who's up in age, over 70, and she wanted to build a multi-million-dollar complex. The name is Dr. Johnny Coleman. Lenders and bankers say, you can't do that, you're too old. She ignored them. That building now stands, ladies and gentlemen, a multi-million-dollar structure. But there are a lot of people who would have listened to that. There are a lot of people that would not have even gotten to that point. They would have talked themselves out of even going down to the bank to ask for it because they've already said no to themselves. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no. See, 87% of our self-talk is negative. So you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to say yes to your dreams. Why not? Why not me? Don't spend time like most people going through life complaining. You got to learn to let the past go so you can grow. Many people never act on their dreams because they allow their past experiences to determine what their possibilities are. Whatever you've done in the past, that's not a reflection of your possibilities. That's just a reflection of your consciousness. That's just a reflection of your development and your growth. The future is unfolding for you right now. The future is unlimited for you right now. No one knows where you can go. No one knows what you're capable of or what's possible for you. You don't even know that. I had no idea, ladies and gentlemen. No one could have convinced me that I was able to do this. I'll never forget, I was speaking in Detroit, and a high school friend of mine saw me afterwards, and he was backstage. He said, I can't believe it's the same person. And I thought for a moment, and I said, it's not. The person you know, he's gone. We have the power to change our personal history, changing the direction of our lives, changing our thoughts, changing where we want to go, exploring new horizons.
I think that it's very important that you start trusting yourself. Listen to yourself. Listen to that still small voice within you. Don't try and make everything logical. There's some things about life that defies logic, that you just can't explain how the outcome is going to be. That once you begin to trust yourself and your ideas and your instincts, life takes on a whole new meaning, because now I want you to do that feeling that you are led. Just feel, I am led. I remember the worst speech I had ever given in my life. I let someone exploit fear that I had. For years, I had a tremendous inferiority complex because I'm not college educated. And this person knew this. And she said, let me write this speech for you. You're going to speak at Ohio State University. Those people are very educated there, and they're going to know when you make grammatical errors, and they're going to know because of the substance of your speech that you are not literate. I care about you. I don't want you to embarrass yourself. So this person proceeded to write a speech for me. I had a speech in my mind, but this person was stronger than I was negatively than I was positive about my own thoughts. And I gave my power away. With my permission, I allowed this person to guide me to do something that I really didn't want to do. But I didn't feel enough inner strength and conviction
about my skills as a speaker and the message that I had to bring to stick by my guns. And I got up there at the Ohio Union and I read this straight speech and did not move and did not take my eyes off the page because I'm not accustomed to reading. And after I finished, some people gave me a standing ovation because I read it extremely well, and I was very tense and I was very nervous. Ladies and gentlemen, don't give your power away. You don't need anybody to approve your dream. It was given to you. If they can't see it, it's because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Hold it, nourish it, cultivate it, work on it. It's yours. It's your baby. Work on it until it comes into fruition. I gave away my power and I said, I'm not going to do that no more.
We are all born, please believe this, with built-in greatness.
See, at some point in time, all of us have seen our destiny. I was 6 years old, a man by the name of Reverend Ed Graham, of Mount Zion Baptist Church in Miami. I was 6 years old right before Christmas. My mother was ill. We had no food in the house. And this tall, strapping man around 6'1" came to the door with a food basket in his hand. And he says, hello, is this the Brown family? My mother said, yes. I understand that you have 2 sons and a daughter and that you have no food. Yes, I'm from Mount Zion Baptist Church, and around Christmas time we pass out food baskets to needy families. Take the basket in behalf of the church and have a nice Christmas. When he walked out, I said, oh boy, I'd like to be like that man. And I went to his church and I used to watch him speak, and tall and powerful and dynamic speaker, such eloquence. One of his favorite people was the poet Kipling, who wrote, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. What eloquence he had. And I said, oh, I would hunch Wesley. I said, Wesley, I'd like to be like Reverend Graham. A friend of mine, Mildred Singleton, my former fiance, she was with a school outing. But she was on a school outing, and they took her to a hospital, and she was in the operating room watching from a distance. And she saw someone working or doing eye surgery. She says, that's what I want to do. She's just a teenager, and today she's an ophthalmologist. All of us have seen our destiny at some point in time, and we decided not to listen. We decided to ignore it and say, no, that's not for me. Life came in and slapped us side the head, and we stopped dreaming anymore. Bigger Thomas said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life. And that's what causes many of us to give up on our volcano. The experiences and the challenges, the defeats, the disappointments, and the failures of life. Then we decide to prematurely throw in the towel on ourselves, or to sell out on our true potential, sell out on living our dreams, feeling that we're not good enough, not wanting to make any mistakes, particularly if you're raised with a great deal of criticism. So you've got to be willing to prepare yourself and do the best you can, take your best shot, and let the chips fall where they may. And so as you begin to look at people become afraid of success because they feel they're not good enough, they can't handle it, the responsibility is too big. I've been there. And when you feel that way, you begin to unconsciously work against yourself to make sure that you don't get it. You begin to sabotage your own potential in a variety of ways, through procrastinating, through not taking care of business, not giving reports on time, not spending your time wisely, squandering your time looking at a lot of idle television, or spend all your time lamenting and complaining about how bad things are, using your energy negatively rather than positively, complaining rather than producing. That's what we do when we're afraid of really making it. And when you're afraid of the unknown, when you're afraid to take that leap, when you're afraid to venture out there, that's a real challenge. I'm reminded about a little boy. 2 little guys were out playing on some ice that was supposed to have been solid. And one of the little boys stepped on a thin area of the ice and fell in a hole. And as he began to start thrashing in the water, he began to move with the undercurrent to other areas of the ice, and his friend was there trying to help him, beating, hitting the ice, trying to save his friend. And he panicked, and he looked just a short distance away, and there was a tree, and he went and he ripped a branch off, and he came back trying to get his buddy out, and he just took the best he could and started scraping around the ice to make a circle. And when he did, he started beating on it and beating on it, and there all of a sudden the ice began to crumble, and he was able to pull his friend out to safety. When the paramedics finally got there, they saw what had happened, how thick the ice was. He saved the little boy's life, but what baffled them, they looked at the branch, and they looked at this little scrawny guy and said, how did he do this? It's impossible. They just went beating around the ice to see how thick it was, hearing the thumping sound. Said, how did he do that? I mean, it was a miracle that he was able to just take that branch and go around, make a circle, and beat the ice and pull him through. He's just too small. It's just impossible. And an old man standing around, hearing the conversation, stepped forward and said, I can tell you how he did it. He didn't have anybody here to tell him he couldn't do it. See, sometimes life will happen to you like this little boy, and you won't have time to say no. You won't have time to think that you can't do it. The only time you will have is to act, to take the leap of faith and believe that everything is going to be all right. Take that leap of faith, trust yourself, and know within yourself that everything's going to be all right. But aren't there some guarantees you can give us, Les? Yes. What is that? You're going to die. You're going to die. Excuse me? You're going to die. In case you didn't understand that, you can't get out of life alive. So I'm saying to you, you got 6 months to live. Live your life now. Live your dreams now. Start acting like this is your last day on the planet. See, if we decide that we don't need a pronouncement from some physician to say we have 6 months to a year to live in order to really begin to appreciate the beauty of life, in order to really to make some hard decisions in life. See, we have the power in our hand. Like those little boys, we have that kind of power, that kind of genius, that kind of fortune, that kind of wealth, that kind of happiness, that kind of sense of fulfillment in our hands. We have that. We have that. It's in our hands. It's on us. And nobody can make that decision for us. We can give it away. We can give it to the company store for $400 or $500 a week, or we can exchange it for how people think about us, how they feel about us, and go through life and resign ourselves to be miserable as we go to our graves, looking good for everybody else except to ourselves. Or we can decide, hey, wait, this is the only life that I have, and that is my volcano, and I'm going to take the leap of faith. I'm going to jump in it, and I'm going to handle it, because I know the universe will never give me anything I don't have the capacity to handle. See, I say to you that you've got the power within you to handle any kind of volcano in your life, regardless of how it shows up, regardless of any kind of challenge that you might have in your life. I say to you, you got that in you right now. Where will it come from? Don't worry. If you trust yourself, it will come to you at the right time in which you need it. If you believe, and don't doubt, if everything in you, there's something about life, I believe, that when a person resolves within themselves that this is how I give my life, this is how I'm forwarding myself into the universe. Dr. Johnny Youngblood out of New York, he said, I must live what's in me. This is why I've got to do this, Les. I must live what's in me. And all of us have something in us that we must live. And if we don't know what it is right now, we must create it or we must find it. All of us have this, whatever this something is that gives our life that meaning, that value, and that power, and that happiness. That happiness that a lot of people just wouldn't understand why you got to do it and why you got to take that mountain on. So here's what I think that we can begin to do to live our dreams, to begin to let life take on some new meaning for us, some new power and some new value, is to begin to look for the daisies in your life right now where you are. Regardless of what's happening to you, regardless of what's going on with you, begin to look for some beauty in it. Begin to look for some lessons that you can learn from where you are and what you're going through. Think about that. Now, see, I think that when you decide to take a leap and you handle the challenges that you're facing, read something about fear. That's one of the things that keeps us from beginning to live life. Here's what happened. This guy, John Rogers, wrote that. He said, when people take the courage to journey into the center of their fear, they find nothing. It is only many layers of fear being afraid of itself. And Eleanor Roosevelt said, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I've lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you cannot do. It is the thing that we cannot do. And because it is that, we must do that. Once fear is acted upon, the death of fear is certain. Let me ask you some questions here. If you had 6 months to live, what would you do differently with your life? What would you do differently? Would you have the same job? Would you be worried about things that you're worried about right now? Would you have the same relationships? Would you have the same people in your life? I was sitting on the House of the Ohio legislative floor. I'd just been elected for the third time as the chairman of the Human Resource Committee, powerful, prestigious position. And I was reading a book on how to manage your time in your life. And it talked about what are your long-range goals 2 to 3 years from now? What are your short-range goals, 6 months goals? And then it said, if you had 3 months to live, what would you spend your time doing? One thing, I would resign from the legislature. I would go and back to Miami, and I would buy my mother a home, something I'd promised myself that I was going to do, and I had continued to procrastinate and put all kind of reasons why I couldn't do it. And, I wanted to make sure that she was financially secure, my children would be financially secure, and I would do lectures, and I would go around talking to people and working with kids. That's what I said I would do. Then it turned to the next page and it said, for all you know, you don't have 3 months to live. You might die today. So whatever you wrote on the last page, you want to spend as much of your time doing that today. So I looked at Mr. Vern Reif, the Speaker of the Ohio Legislature, and I said to the guy on my right, State Representative Mike Stenziano out of the Ohio State District, I said, Stenzi, 25 years from now, who would care what legislation we pass? He said, nobody would care 1 year from now. Now here's what was happening with me. I came to the Ohio Legislature with great expectations. There are things I wanted to do. I wanted to make a change in society. I wanted to make an impact, but I was just disillusioned after being there for a while. I introduced some legislation that I'd worked months to get this legislation passed, got it out of subcommittee, voted to the major committee, and then went from there to the reference committee, and then they introduced it on the Ohio legislative floor. And this legislation was designed to provide protection for senior citizens and poor people who bought money orders. People buy money orders thinking that it's cash. But what they did not know, that there's no bond or insurance security in the event that the money order company files bankruptcy. And so this company filed bankruptcy and just left a lot of people just holding worthless paper. So I wanted to introduce some legislation so that senior citizens would not be victims of this anymore. After months of hard work, after introducing the bill and having the votes lined up, guy raised his hand, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Wright said yes. He said, I'd like to introduce the amendment for Mr. Brown's bill. He said, we will hear the amendment. He said, I'd like to amend it and change the word shall to may. I said, excuse me, Mr. Speaker, may I speak, please? Yeah. I said, ladies and gentlemen of the Ohio legislature, this legislation is not something we wanted to make it optional to provide protection for Ohioans and senior citizens. We want to make it mandatory. And then this guy said, no, Mr. Speaker, I just think that he's taking it a little too far. This is an honorable gesture on behalf of the state, but he's taking it too far. Let's make it optional and leave it up to the goodwill of these money order companies to provide for the protection. Let's have the vote. And they had the vote, and I lost. And I said, oh, wait, this is not why I came here. And then all of a sudden, this job that at one point had meaning to me and value, it no longer had that for me. And all of us have had some experiences where you went to a job and you were excited about that job. Boy, it had so much promise, and then you got there, so much you wanted to do. You thought it was an opportunity for upward mobility and growth and development and expansion. And all of a sudden, after you got there, you found out it was nothing but a glorified cubbyhole. Old grave with no dirt on. So it became very depressing going to work. Boy, I used to get my headache start throbbing on Sunday afternoon after the Sunday afternoon football game, a basketball game. I just hated to go to work. Many of us stay in relationships like that. I had a friend talking to, she said she was so miserable in her marriage that one day she went home. I said, when did you get your divorce now? She said, she said, I went home, put the key in the door, and she said, I couldn't go in. She said, I was so depressed, had so much pain in my body because I just couldn't. She said, I knew then I had to get a divorce. Well, here's what we can do. Wherever you are, decide that you're going to focus your time. Why is it that most people don't pursue their dreams or don't do better than what they're doing if they're capable of doing it? I think that many of us don't go the next step because we don't know what to do yet. And I say that the reason that we don't even explore the possibility of what to do is because subconsciously we don't believe that it can happen for us, and we don't believe that we deserve it. So here's what I'm suggesting. How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you? So I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast, you have to literally run to stand still. I'm saying that you've got to make some conscious effort to begin to work to develop you. Here's something else. Most people are not living their dreams because of fear, ladies and gentlemen. I was in Columbus, Ohio yesterday speaking for a particular Ohio department. Young lady named Karen who greeted me, who organized the event. Very talented, very skillful. And she was talking about she wanted to become involved in the consulting business. I said, why aren't you doing it? I said, you have the abilities. I said, you're not here because they like you. You're here because you're doing the job. You're making things happen. And she came up with all kinds of ideas, but finally she said, I guess I can't see myself doing it. I guess I'm afraid. Fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem is what keep most people doing things they don't want to do. I flew from Columbus, Ohio to Denver, Colorado to a major communications company. And the person that picked me up at the airport told me about the fact that the company was planning on having a major downsizing. And they offered some of the employees there an early retirement, and some of them will earn as much as $300,000. And they said, this is the last time that you can take this offer. If you don't do it, when we have the downsizing, you might be among those who will lose their jobs, and all you will get is your severance pay. And only 50% of the people who were eligible to take the $300,000 took it. The others were afraid to take a chance on themselves. The others couldn't see themselves beyond that company. They couldn't see life after that company. The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. I was looking what Dr. Blanton, Smiley Blanton, who is a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, what he said about fear. He said, fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear put people in the hospital. Fear can age you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell. And I ask you a question, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself, of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that? It's one of the things I had to ask myself. So I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on. I like what Zig Ziglar says. He said, fear is false evidence appearing real. That is an illusion that we create in our mind. It is a state of mind that can be changed. So let's look at how we can begin to take some steps to restructure that fear, to begin to expand our visions of ourselves, to begin to increase our self-esteem. Webster said that self-esteem means confidence and satisfaction in oneself. Look at your life right now. Whatever you've done up to this point in time, your life is working. Whatever you have produced, it came out of you as a result of the kind of person that you have become. It's a result of your choices. It's a result of your consciousness. Now you have to ask yourself, are you satisfied with what you have produced? Is this what you want? Would you like for things to be better than this? Do you believe that you deserve better than this? Or are you content? This is it. You don't have to do anything else. That you've already resigned yourself in life and say, well, I'm happy. Are you allowing yourself to get off the hook like that? Or do you believe somewhere in the back of your mind or in your heart that there's some other great work for you to do? There's something else that life has for you. And that's why you're here. How do we handle this fear factor? How do we increase our self-esteem? You have to begin to fortify yourself. How do we do that? I believe that you have to begin to consciously monitor your inner conversation and start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you. So I'm saying learn to be your own booster. Start building yourself up. Start encouraging yourself. Start saying, I can do this. I can make this happen. When I started thinking about becoming a speaker, I said, yes, I can do this. I can make this happen. When I start trying to convince myself I can be a businessman after flopping and failing and losing thousands of dollars and feeling stupid and dumb and having people take advantage of me because of what I didn't know, I had to talk to myself because people were saying to me that I was dumb. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I was saying, you're right. Look at what I've done. I had to say, no, Les. Hey, come on, man. Get yourself together. You can handle this. You just haven't figured it out yet. It's all right. This is your training period. This is the tuition you have to pay for what you don't know. You can do this. Other people have done it. It doesn't take an Einstein. Get you some people that can teach you some stuff that you don't know. Get you some people that have done it successfully and learn from them. Take some seminars, workshops, read some books on how to manage a business. Change the way you see yourself and begin to tend to the personal details. Understand that nobody's going to take care of your business better than you. And when I start changing that kind of mindset of beating myself up because of my mistakes and start looking at the possibility of my doing better, of my making the adjustment that would enable me to do what I want to do successfully, things begin to change. And I'm saying, stop beating up on yourself. You do it. I know you do it. I've done it. It's a natural inclination for us to put ourselves down. See, we are born negative, I think, in a negative consciousness because we live in a negative world. See, you don't have to teach children to lie. They'll lie automatically. Did you wet in your pants? No, I did not. Well, what is that? I don't know. You don't have to encourage kids to misbehave. They will do it by themselves. You don't have to encourage them to do the wrong thing. They will do it automatically. You have to correct their behavior. So I'm saying that we have to work through the challenges of life in learning how to begin to work to fortify ourselves. Begin to guard your mind against negative programming, like turn off the television. Don't watch the news. I think that more people have a sense of hopelessness and anxiety about life. If you look at the news, you cannot feel good looking at the news. You'll be scared to death. You're scared to go to sleep. I mean, it turns your power down. You've got to be conscious of that. Don't pick up the newspaper and read it. No. Just try this. Just experiment with yourself. Now, if your job depends upon you knowing certain things, let somebody tell you just about those things. But start filtering the stuff you allow to come in your mind. You know that song you used to have? Say, don't let nobody bring you no bad news. I tell my staff, look here, don't tell me any bad news while I'm on the road. Let me handle it tomorrow. I don't like anybody to tell me any bad news at night before I go to sleep. I can't do anything about it anyhow. Why let me go to sleep with that on my consciousness? No, and my staff, they know that. Say, let it wait till tomorrow. And I have a period of time. Tell me bad news between 10 o'clock and 12 noon. After I prayed and meditated and read my books, I'm fortified, I'm ready to handle it. I deal with them and I'm out of there and I'm going on to something else. So you've got to guard the kinds of things that you put in your mind. See, if you don't program your mind will be programmed because human beings are goal-oriented. That's why we die of broken hearts early. That's why we're running through life to early grades. We're going through life, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that Henry David Thoreau said that most men live in quiet desperation. Most of us go through life running scared. Larry DeAndre, who I think is going to be one of the greatest motivational speakers around today, told me a true story of a friend of his that every day when he came home from school, when he would get to a certain block in his neighborhood, there was a neighborhood dog that would chase him. And that dog would start after him barking. Boy, he would run, just running from that dog every day. Finally, he just got tired of that dog chasing him every day. He said, this dog come around here today, I'm going to take a brick or something and bust him in the head. So he was walking home that day, minding his own business. Sure enough, same area, there was that dog there. And the dog started barking, he started running, he saw a brick and he stopped and picked up the brick and turned around. And the dog got close to him, he realized the dog didn't have any teeth. He said he put the brick down, he said, get on out my way. And ladies and gentlemen, all our lives, many of us go through life running from things that ain't got no teeth to do us any harm. Haven't you been afraid to do something and then after you did it, you say, whoa, if I'd known it was this easy, I would have done it before. Haven't you ever had that experience? Raise your hand. Absolutely. So we created this in our minds, false evidence appearing real. We made it real in our minds. That's why Churchill said there's nothing to fear but fear itself. That's the destructive monster. So turn off things that can contribute to your fear. Turn a deaf ear to people that all they can do is talk about how negative things are because they have bought into the consciousness of the world. Start attending workshops, seminars, listening to tapes on a daily basis to begin to recondition your mind, to retrain your thinking. Faith comes by what? Hearing and hearing and hearing. Listen to things that can empower you, that can enable you to create a new reality for yourself, and a new life for yourself. You might appear to be strange around most people. You know, most people think you're strange if you're happy today. People say, how you doing? I said, better than good. Whoa, what's wrong with him? Just go around smiling and watch people. Look at this. Is this a weird guy over here? Because most people don't smile. Watch them. Look at their faces in the morning. Here we go, another Monday morning. How you doing? Haven't had my coffee yet. Don't ask me. See, these people have not found their purpose in life. That's why they're grumpy. That's why they're miserable. That's why they're so negative. They're hurting and they want to hurt other people. So start practicing using programs for your mind. Seminars, books, workshops. Keep a journal. Record your thoughts. What's happening with you? Every day when you get up, have a journal near you. I use a Jack Boland journal so that I can write down my ideas. I keep it by my bed so I can write down my thoughts. See, ladies and gentlemen, we get 3 to 4 thoughts a year that if we would act on those thoughts, they could change our life. Don't say, well, I'll remember that. No, write that thought down. I got a thought today I wrote down. A friend of mine is in the hospital. His morale is low. They're talking about amputating his foot. He's got to feel very bad. So I said, you know, not only am I going to see him, but I can't be there with him all the time. I said, I'm going to create a tape for him that he can listen to that will heighten his level of morale. We told him the other night, don't go to surgery. You are depressed. Your energy level is down. No, tell him not now. Don't do it now. In fact, most doctors who have any sense of awareness don't perform surgery on patients that are in a state of fear, that don't think they will make it. They wait till they're in a different state of mind. So I said, what about making tapes for people that are facing physical challenges? I said, that's a good idea. All right? See, there are ideas that can come to you out of things that appear to be negative. I have a friend out of Chicago, just met him. He was 23 years old. And this guy, he went financially bankrupt 2 years ago, ruined his credit. Guess what he decided to do? He found a blessing in it. He wanted to restore his credit. It was very challenging, very difficult. And he realized that a lot of other people during these particular times had ruined their credit. So now he started a credit repair business. Last year, he earned over $100,000 helping people to restore their credit. I met a young lady who attends this church, that she was at her father's funeral and she was putting flowers on her father's grave, and she looked around and saw the other grave sites. They did not look well groomed and they were not attended to on a regular basis. She started a grave site maintenance business. Out of that tragedy, something positive has come out of it. And now she's earning more money doing that than on her present job. What idea are you sitting on? Write your ideas down. And then, once you get that idea, take the leap. Hello? Take the leap. See, a lot of people get the ideas and just walk around with them. Have you ever had an idea and all of a sudden you looked around and somebody had that idea and gone with it? Take the leap. See, it's out here in the universe. If you don't take the plunge, I guarantee you, somebody else will. Take the plunge. Go into action. And ladies and gentlemen, you will be surprised at how things will come together. You'll be surprised. Now, you're going to have some difficult challenges. And that's when life is just playing a game with you. There are 3 reasons that people are stuck right now. Here's the reason. Number 1 reason, most people don't believe in themselves. Things have changed. They don't believe in themselves. I didn't do what I'm doing now. For 14 years, I procrastinated. For 14 years, I convinced myself I couldn't do it. There's a proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. The fort, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. I didn't believe in myself. Here's the second reason that most people are stuck and traumatized. You talk to them about how they can begin to live their dreams, and they'll look at you like you're crazy. Most people are not aware of how to earn money with their talents, their abilities, their skills, their experiences, and their education. Here's the other thing. Not only that most people don't believe in themselves, most people don't know how to make money with their talents, abilities, and skills, but most people don't know how to gain access to the people that will pay them for what they know. I know people that lost their jobs. Out there looking for jobs. In an economy where 53% of the MBAs can't find jobs. Let me tell you why you're here. Let me tell you why you are here. Because you're not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of your life. That's why this concept appealed to you. When I said that you have something special, I didn't just say that to say it. Let me share something with you. I said it because it's true. The fact that you said yes to this opportunity, that indicates, that tells me something about you. How many of you know, as you look at yourself, look at your dreams, that things don't just happen, they happen just. There's a reason for you to be here now. Trust me on that. As much as you have chosen to be here, you were chosen to be here. I only attract millionaires or millionaires in training. The reason that the majority of people will tell you no is because the majority of people don't believe in themselves, because the majority of people live in a world just like you and I, where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential. And so, as you look at yourself, look at your dreams, don't become discouraged when people say no. Now let me share with you why you said yes. There's an area of the brain, it's a network-like group of cells at the base of the brain that's called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system. It filters the things that come through. And only three things get through. Things that we value, things that threaten us, and things that surprise us. Because we have an entertainment-driven culture. The reason you said yes, because when you start hearing information about living your dream, controlling your life, creating a new life for yourself, living life on your terms, having more time for yourself and your family, leaving a legacy, being financially independent, you value that. Being your own person, being your own boss, you value that. That's why you saw this and you said yes. You're different. One great American said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dull by having a state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before the master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. This is why you're here, because you've got big dreams. Most people don't have dreams. Most people are just trying to survive. You don't want to survive. You want to thrive. You know that there's got to be more. You know that. And you're at a place in your life where you said, I've had it. I can't go out like this. I've had it. I remember I was working on a job and they paid me just enough to keep me from quitting, and I worked just hard enough to keep from getting fired. How many of you can identify with that? But no one was holding a gun to my head. I was a volunteer victim. Nobody made me do it, and I justified it. I've got to pay bills. I've got children. I've got a wife. I have a car note. I have a mortgage note. I was a volunteer victim. And then I couldn't do it anymore. How many ever get to a point where you say, I've had it? I can't do this anymore. I'm going. Where are you going? Away from here. I'll tell you, I used to sit in the parking lot. They had to come out and say, let's come on in. I said, I can't come today, Let's unlock the door. Come on. And let me share this with you. Let me tell you something. How many of you have been fired? Raise your hands, please. Been fired. Let me share something about life. God has such a sense of humor. Here I am on a job. I didn't like them. They didn't like me. And I came to work one day. I was a disc jockey in Columbus, Ohio. And I went to put my key in the door, and the key wouldn't fit. They had a note. I looked, the note said, "You're fired." They didn't have the courage to fire me to my face. Now, I'm going to share something with you. I've never told this publicly, and I'm not proud of this, but I lost it. I snapped. I said, wait a minute. I tried the key again. I said, I'm fired. I'm reading the note. I said, oh no. Now mind you, I'm telling everybody I don't like them, they don't like me, I don't like the job, I'm sick of them, they're sick of me. They fired me, now I'm mad. I lost it. I drove my car on the other side of the building. There was a big window. I got on top of the hood. I knocked on the window. I said, Nick Bodie, he was the engineer. He said, yes. I said, do you know that I'm crazy? He looked up. He said, yes. I said, then open this door. He said, all right. He ran, he opened the door, and he ran back into his office, and a guy I trained named Mike Reeves, he's Pastor Reeves. I sent him to Jesus. Mike Reeves, let me tell you. When he saw me coming, he left the studio. I went in the studio, I opened up the microphone, I said, this is Les Brown. Today is September the 22nd, 1978. This is my last day on the air. They fired me. They left a note for me on the door. They changed the lock. I'm going to be on the air till they come pull me out of the control room. So tell everybody you know. Then I started getting furniture, pushing it in front of the door. Yeah, They're going to just fire me. Yeah, no, you ain't going to do that to me. No, you just can't fire people like that. No. As hard as I work for y'all, I'm not, I ain't leaving here. No, y'all. Yes, indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no music today. Yes, the man about town, Les Brown. This is my last day on the air. Now, let me see what I'm going to talk about. I talked for around 3 hours till they called the Upper Arlington police. They said, Mr. Brown? I said, yes, you're under arrest. I said, for what? For trespassing. I said, I want to leave here right now. They said, come on out. I said, sir, I can't. Why? This place is blockade with furniture. It's too much work to leave here. I've been fired. You told me that. So y'all come on in and I will leave. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not resisting arrest. Tell everybody I'm not resisting arrest. It's just the furniture in front of the door. I want to come out, but I'm fired, so I'm not working. No, I'm not doing that. They had to tear the door off the hinges. They came in and I had my hands up and they handcuffed me. And fortunately, Sergeant James Jackson, he was a sergeant then in Columbus, Ohio. He drove up to Upper Arlington. He said, I don't have jurisdiction here. He said, I heard everything on the radio. He said, Les, he said, if we take the handcuffs off, will you leave and not come back? And I said, yes, my work is through here. And please hurry and take them off because my face is itching. So he said to them, let him go. And the guy said, we're going to take him in because he was trespassing. And he said, well, you're not going to be able to get him to the car. Have you looked outside? He says, no, we haven't. He looked out, over 3,000 people had packed the parking lot. So he said, well, we will call backup. He said, pick up the phone. They picked up the phone, the lines were cut. He said, Mr. Brown, yes, if we let you go, you promise not to come back here again. I said, I promise. I'm through here. And they unhandcuffed me. I came out and people applauded, and that was the last time I was there. Now let me share something with you about life. Marion White said, in life, so you have a goal and dream, things are going to happen to you. Think it not strange that you are faced the fiery furnaces of this world. Things will happen to you. You're going to come under attack. That's a part of it. That's why most people give up. and they throw in the towel on themselves. And so, but Marion White said, in life, when you don't have enough courage or insight to know that you have outgrown a situation and it's time to move on, life will move on you. See, I don't believe that millions of people have lost their jobs. I think that millions of people have been released to do that which they were chosen to do from the beginning of time.
Greatness is built one step at a time. Keep moving forward. We appreciate you watching our video to the end. Creating these videos takes a lot of passion and dedication, and your support makes it all worthwhile. If this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe and stay on this journey with us. Your encouragement helps us continue delivering top quality videos just for you. Together, let's make life epic.